Make some noise. Send some love to the front of the stage as we welcome One Republic to the Live and Up Close stage. So do you feel special? Do you feel like a big dog,
I do. Considering this room maybe holds 35 people maximum, I'd say this is a good crowd.
Does it ever get to a point where you know we've got a hit on our hands? Like Counting Stars was such a huge song.
Yeah.
Do you know until it's out into the ether that people are going to love it? Do you look at each other and go, yeah, boys?
With Counting Stars, look, the truth of the matter is everybody's guessing all the time.
Yeah.
Labels guess when they put a song out, artists guess when they write it, and radio guesses when they play it. And we had put out a song. You can't control anything. You make the music that you love, and then you put it out, and you hope that everybody likes it as much as you do. It's weird that I'm talking to you back here.
I know, so I wasn't in the
I'm gonna do
light,
this.
and they're like,
Yeah.
you're in the dark.
You're blocking the light.
Is this less awkward?
That's better.
Much better. So Counting Stars, it was it was like a few of us in the band. We felt it the most, and like my friends that I hung out with, that was the one. They were like, send me the demo. Can you send me the demo? Because I'm obsessed with that song. And we had a good feeling about it. We were told by our label that it wasn't a hit and that it shouldn't come out as a single.
Really?
That's the truth. And that there's a lot of the biggest records in history the label did not want to put out. Not the Australian label, by the way.
Yeah, let's all look at Elle
That's
and
it
point
broke.
emojis.
Counting Stars broke in Australia first before any other country. And yeah, good
Come
on
on,
you.
clap for yourselves.
Yeah.
Good musical taste. You guys are the reason One
Yep.
Republic are famous.
That's
All
right.
you.
And so, you know, for us, and you just never know what's going to happen. It's like
Yeah.
I was saying in the car earlier, our second album was huge in the US and Europe and Asia and South Africa, but didn't even really come out in Australia because there were things happening at the label, like switches of personnel when the album came out. And so it was so sad because like 2 or 3 of the biggest hits we've ever had, it just missed. It didn't come out here. Like it didn't happen in Australia. So it was super bizarre the first time we toured here. And we were like, wait a minute. So we sold however many millions of albums and singles on our last album. And here it was like it didn't happen. So you can't control any of that stuff.
Totally.
With Counting Stars, the moment I knew and that we knew that we were promoting the wrong song, not the wrong song, because whatever, but that we knew that it was a hit was of all places, it was in Lebanon. Are you Lebanese?
Yes, I am.
There you go.
As is Sexy Viva, my producer.
So we played a city called Byblos, which is outside of it's the oldest city in the world, like inhabited.
Best, yeah.
It's outside of course it's the best. You're from there. And it's outside of Beirut, 45 minutes, and we were playing the Virgin Air Festival something, and it was the second time we had ever played a full set with integrating new songs from Native from that album. And we got halfway through the set and got to Counting Stars. It was not a single. It had only been out a week, 2 weeks, this album. And I think the entire crowd was maybe 8,000 people, 8,000 Lebanese and others sang every word of Counting Stars, having been an album cut that had only been out for a week. And so I called my manager from Lebanon, and I said, I think we might be promoting the wrong song at this point. And funny enough, we were promoting If I Lose Myself, which the album version didn't become a hit. Alessa remixed it, and then If I Lose Myself was like monstrous everywhere.
It's so funny how life works.
It's so weird. You have no control.
We have some fan questions. Should we kick it off with our sister from Wagga Wagga?
Kick it off
obviously?
from Wagga Wagga.
Laura.
Kick it off from Wagga Wagga. Hi, I'm Laura. What
Hi.
was your greatest motivation for keeping making music entering the world?
I would say, for me personally, it was after we had a good long break. It was this is such a generic way to answer this, but it's true. It was started paying attention again to the fans around the world who had connected with our music previously, and it meant something to them personally, and actually affected their life, which is what music does to me and has always done to me. And when you make music, you forget. It's easy because you're in it, and you're thinking about so many things that aren't why you got into it in the first place. Because once you have success, then all of a sudden it's like money. When you don't have it, you think it's the most important thing in the world, and you have it, and you get more problems, more money, more problems, right? And so when you're in a band or an artist and things blow up, then all of a sudden there's all these other things you have to think about that have nothing to do with why you started. And then when we came back to thinking about the fans and the people around the world that we have not seen in so many years, and we left a lot on the table in that regards. We just kind of had 2 or 3 albums that did really well, and then we just kind of walked away. And we wanted to do it again. It's that simple. We simply were like, I want to get back in airplanes and fly around and play these songs and start putting out new music that leads up to an album, and then do a full world tour. We had a good chunk of time off, really, and we needed that like crazy.
Hi, I'm Megan. I was just wondering what your favorite city in the world to perform in is and why.
Ooh.
Lebanon, obviously. Country, but we'll take it.
Yeah, Beirut. There are different favorite city. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Favorite city. There are. I would say there's a 2-part answer. There are different cities that, being in the city, regardless of the venue, the show, or what it is, the city itself is so beautiful and just like nuts that I would say it's my favorite because of we get time off in that city, and that would, for most of us, would be Cape Town would be towards the top. Cape Town, South Africa, but that's more to do with. I mean, the people are fine; they're beautiful too. But it's more to do with like Cape Town is just gorgeous. If you've ever seen it, internet, Google it. I would say as a city, from like audiences, what we found is, and I think most artists would say this. I've talked to a lot of artists about this. The cities that get the least amount of love and concerts and tours are the ones that go the most apeshit. So
like
when
in the northern hemisphere, it's like the further north you go.
The Baltics, like if you get into Eastern Europe, you get into like Latvia, Estonia, the Enias, like all those, the Nias, and you get to like Kiev. Like the other thing, for real though, like when you play Beirut, okay, there are a lot of countries that have conflict, a lot of conflict. Cairo, Tunisia, we played it right before it exploded like a tinderbox. We played Lebanon, and then a week later, the U.S. government shut down Lebanon because car bombs went off. So whenever you play a conflict region, you're gonna have the best concert of your life, because they are like, literally, they're just going, I can't believe you're here. You came. Like Tunisia, we played it, and like the king or prime minister showed up and gave us the key to the country of Tunisia. Like. You're here. Like, the last person was, this is not a Tunisian accent, I don't know. Sounds like Borat, but it's like, he was like, the last person was Rod Stewart. And Michael Bublé. Like, so when you play those places, and we love that shit. It's like, people are scared to play. Like, when we went to Istanbul, everyone was like, are you gonna get assassinated? We're like, no. Istanbul's fine. Like, we're not going to get shot. You're fine. Most places in the world are not as dangerous as Chicago. You're fine. Sorry, Zach.
That's really
he lives
nice.
there. So, if you for Christmas, Bulletproof Vest.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I just wanted to know, what's the most valuable thing that your fans have taught you over the years?
That the songs mean infinitely more than we realize. I think that's that something that is as self-serving and narcissistic as a song, because I got asked a question earlier today about this, something like this, and I said, to write great songs, you're basically spilling your guts and assuming, which is if you think about it, incredibly asinine and narcissistic to assume that the world wants to hear your 3-minute narrative on your personal life. You're one out of 7.6 billion people. Like, who cares? And so to then be like, but this is my experience. And like, you put it in a song that is only just cathartic for you, right? It's you processing your own stuff and then saying, great, I love this. This feels like art to me. And then putting it out there is so presumptive. And then if the whole world goes, well, I love this and it means something to me, that to me, every time it works, I'm just completely shocked, because I'm like, this is 3 minutes about me. Nothing is more narcissistic and self-involved than that. And yet now there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, and in some cases, in some songs, when we've hit it right, billions and billions who are all singing it and it means something to them. That blows my mind every single time. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kayla. So if your career restarted tomorrow and you could only release one Republic song,
Jesus.
which one would it be and why?
Oh man,
Oh, I've never been asked that. I don't know. That's a great question. Yeah, the strategist part of my brain would be like, well, it would either be Apologize or Counting Stars, but I don't know. I don't know. Wow, I've never been asked a question I can't answer. I literally don't know how to answer that. I couldn't. Well, good job, Kayla. No. I can't answer that. I've never, in 12 years, have I ever not been able to answer a question? Really?
I haven't been paying attention.
He's been checked out since 2012.
I've heard you answer a lot of questions, though, for sure.
I wish I could give you an answer. I'd give me like a week to think about that. Yeah.
We'll give you Kayla's number and you can call her.
That sounds appropriate. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kelly. How did you feel when you first heard Beyonce sing your song Halo?
Disbelief. I was in Denver, and I had sent the song in. You know, getting a Beyonce single, any songwriter will tell you, is the closest approximation to it is, even if you're the best of the best songwriter, it's still a lottery ticket. It's like playing, you guys have Powerball lottery? Yeah. It's that. It's not even so much about, and it's actually not about who's the best songwriters in the world, because she's oblivious to that. She's just like, she knows, but she doesn't care. She'll take, if the Uber driver gave her a concept that she thought was amazing, that would be her single. So with her, you don't ever know. Nobody communicates anything. As you know, she drops her albums and like the world finds out, and she drops a Netflix special and you find out the moment it comes out. She's kind of always been like that. So with Halo, the only reason I knew that she was keeping it was because they had gone so long not telling me what was going on that I went and cut it on another artist and was giving it to another artist who I won't name, who I'd already had a hit with. So I knew I could trust the process, and I loved Beyonce, but I didn't, I was like, no one was communicating to me. So when I actually, it took me basically saying like, I'm giving the song away for them to send me the song and be like, here's the proof that it exists. We never do this. We never send anything to anybody, but you have a copy of this now, so you know that it exists. And that was, I remember I was in Denver and put it in, it's back in the day when you had to like get in your car to put the CD in. It's like, let me go listen to this, give me a moment. And I'm gonna go get coffee, and I got in the car and put it in and was like driving through downtown Denver, and I was like, yeah, like, and then of course I was like, when's it coming out? And they're like, oh, we have no idea. Like,
how long did you have to wait for it to come out?
Way too long. The problem was that two other really talented writers wrote Single Ladies on the same album.
Rude?
Yeah, sorry. And I know it was offensive. And then so Single Ladies, which was so sick, came out, and so I knew that she was going to lead with a tempo record. Anytime you do the ballad on the album, unless it's Adele, you just assume that it's going to be the second or third single. And but back in the day, and I say back in the day like it's forever ago, but that's like 2010. If someone told you, if a label told you that you had the third single on an artist, it meant something. Oh, cool, the album will come out, and then they'll put out a first and a second and a third. Now it means zero, because it's like an artist could decide tomorrow to pivot and just like kill the song, and because it's Spotify and streaming and all that. So you don't actually have anything until a song's out at radio and out. But at the time, I knew that it was going to be, I think it was a third. She put something else out, didn't she? After that, I forget. I think she put Single Ladies, something else out, and then anyway, I was driving around, turning the radio on, waiting to hear it, and finally I heard it, and it was like, you know, I did the white guy shuffle behind the steering wheel, rolling the window down in Denver, looking over at other white dudes, just being like, hear the song? Like, I'm blasting Beyonce, and it's like, yeah.
And speaking of waiting for music, last question before we play another song, how's the next album coming along?
It's coming along very well. We were very ambitious in that, like, we got cajoled by a guy that we love that works at our label like a month ago into committing to a late November release, and then quickly realized a week later that we're not physically in America like long enough to finish the album by November. So in music world, like if you're not going to put an album out by November, you're not going to do it in December because it's Christmas, and then January kind of wait because you just do. So we're like, okay, well we actually need enough physical days home where we're in a studio where we can finish this album and get it mixed and then have it ready. So I think we're putting out another song before the end of the year. That's at least our intention, and we know which song it is. And then kind of sticking to what I'd said months ago, which is I want to drop as many songs as possible leading up to the album. Because the truth of the matter is, like, for us to tour again, we want to tour with a new album. But the sad state of the sad part of streaming and music being what it is now is that the moment you drop your album, it's done. It's like the album cycle is done. You can't do new, and then like 3 weeks later, everyone's like, "Where's new music?" And you're like, "We just dropped 10 songs. Are you crazy?" Like, so we're pacing ourselves and just trying to like be smart, and where each time we put out a song, it actually gets a moment, and that's really what we're trying to do now. It's like we have a song we love, we want it to have its own moment in the sun, and if we have 3 songs we love, we want all 3 to have their moment, because we know that when the album comes out, everyone will have it, and then it's kind of like, on to the next. So we've already setting dates in Australia, 2020 dates in Australia and Europe and the US. We have a huge US tour. We're truly doing a world tour this time in 2020.